my father was a total alcoholic, and they do say it's genetic. So I don't know if I'm not going to blame it on the genetics. But I'm saying after Vietnam, I literally was drinking a bottle of scotch a day and doing cocaine.
So self-medicating.
Yeah. And then the VA finally put me on medication for the post-traumatic stress disorder, which made it even more fun.
No, what it is, every medicine that he has says do not take with alcohol. Every one. It says on the bottle in big letters, do not take with alcohol.
Yeah, but it's
if anybody took what he took and drank what they'd all be dead. He could probably, what he drank and took in pills yesterday, probably kill all of us. For real. I'm not kidding you.
Well, Kate enjoyed that trazodone hydrochloride.
Great.
She took one and said,
She was
man,
fine.
I never slept that way in my life.
That's a tranquilizer.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
But oddly enough, it's not a.
You read a lot on the internet,
Wikipedia or something.
Yeah. It's actually not. It's non-narcotic though. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
But there's no narcotic.
I don't know how they do it.
But you do get addicted to it. Like if I don't have that, I just don't sleep.
Well, there's also the sleeping stuff. You get used to it. As a not physically, but
mentally.
Yeah, mentally, like you need that little chemical.
Well, no, it's like truth. Like if I don't have, actually.
Yeah, and then you take like 3 days. You got to stop it. Like, you don't sleep for 3 days, but then finally you kind of get your normal sleep.
No, you don't.
It's a fight.
No, you don't. You don't. Because I
know you don't. You don't. Because
we're just talking in general.
Yeah, we're talking in general.
You don't have to. It doesn't have to be narcotic sleeping pill to get addicted to.
Could be anything.
It's just a habit.
Yeah. So I have that too. When I for a long time I'd have to take either a half a Percocet or Vicodin at about 1-2 in the morning, because I know I'm not going to sleep, and then when I take one, it just calms me enough for me to pass into sleep. And I did that for a while, on and off for years. And whenever I stop, I have to go through that like a few days.
Yeah, right.
Of just like, and it's not that I'm really physically addicted to it. It's that mentally I'm like,
yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, I need that.
I gave him a fucking trazodone one time. He slept for 14 hours.
Have you ever taken like a stress class?
Man, I work out.
The breathing.
Yeah, my thing is that first of all I have asthma, so the breathing thing's always been an issue. But no, I can relieve my stress. I do like workouts and running, and when I'm on that cycle, I sleep much better. But I'm one of those people, my mind can't shut off sometimes.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
It just stays on.
I think this stress class for 8 weeks, and they have all this talking about, but the main thing I really like was the breathing. Like they make you slow down, like you breathe your diaphragm, your stomach goes out, and you inhale for 7 seconds and exhale for 8 seconds. And the thing is interesting enough, to calm yourself down, you need to balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide. Because like when you're hyper, you breathe really short, and it's tons of oxygen, and that just shoots your adrenaline up.
Yeah, well, that's
and if you do the slow breathing, and it's of course you forget about it when you're like your brain's spinning. But it actually does work.
If I don't take like,
can you let the guy fucking finish talking, man? I'm trying to hear what he's saying to me. For real.
Anyway, but you should check the fact that the oxygen and carbon dioxide, and to be intellectual about it, what is it? There's the present, there's the future, and the past. And if you spend too much in the past, like grieving about somebody you love, it's grief. If you're stuck in the past, it's depression.
Right.
And looking to the future is the fight or flight response. Like is there going to be a bear coming around the corner? And it's good to be concerned, but if you worry too much about the future, then your anxieties go, which is what you and I have. It's like the future's like we're playing chess all the time.
Yeah.
And but that's like we're getting out of the here and now, and if you do it too much, then it turns from being smart and concerned to an anxiety thing.
True. Yeah.
And the breathing. Actually, I don't know how it works, but you get that anxiety, which is the fight or flight response, the adrenaline, and you actually, if you stop, you're breathing shallower, which is pumping more oxygen in your system, and the oxygen triggers your hormones like, we're going to be doing something real soon, and then it's kind of a cycle.
Yeah.
And the slow breathing just actually, and that was like carbon dioxide is, it's the bounce.
Huh.
It's the bounce that makes it. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's cool.
All I know is if I don't take my 2 Xanax in the morning, my whole day's fucked up.
Let's get you a drug addict.
What?
No.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
All that training, rangers.
But that's what, you were talking about the future. I live in the past.
That's why he's depressed. He's stuck in the
Yeah,
past.
right.
I'm
Exactly.
stuck.
You're
I'm
stuck. Yeah,
stuck
that's what it
in
is.
the past.
Yeah.
And that's like a bad place to be. Especially when you had
Especially your life.
Yeah, when you had my past.
Well,
Why don't you tell us like a good orgasm from the past?
You have to ask the broads about that.
You never had a good orgasm?
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, that's the funny thing about society. It's like it's so easy to talk about your pain, but to talk about pleasures, like everybody clams up.
Oh, I've had plenty of
that's
pleasure.
interesting.
I've had plenty of pleasure. There's no doubt about
See, he's
that.
smiling now. No, he doesn't need the Xanax.
Yeah.
No, but again, I'm
No, but
I'm thinking of the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
I've had
No,
pleasure.
no,
I
but-
haven't had fucking a good time in a long time.
You had a good time on Saturday, right?
I had a great time with this whole thing.
So how long has it been?
But I'm
since
saying
you had
it's
that
a
good-
long time since I've had a good time.
What are you saying? You just said you had a good time here and now. So how
Right.
could you? How could
I'm
it be a
saying
long
it's a
time ago?
long time since I've had a good time.
But see, he's turned a good time into a bad thing now. Like,
Right.
I had a good time this month, but the
Jesus
months
Christ,
before.
I'm surrounded by fucking psychiatrists.
No, but the truth is, Ray picked up on something that you'd been saying. The best thing is that Ray picked up on something you'd been saying a week and a half ago, which was, I'm tortured by my past. And he just said, if you're stuck in your past, you'll be depressed all the time, and you are depressed all the time.
All the time.
But see,
So
you
let
can-
go of the past.
You can also think about
It's easy for people to say.
But
I would have loved for you to have been on Hill 875 and tell me, let go of the past.
it's not just Hill 875.
It
It's the
was-
mobster shit. It's the whole life that you've been
Right.
through.
So what I'm saying is,
I gave you one exercise beyond Vietnam, because Vietnam's different. Nobody can understand from being in war other than the warrior himself. That I truly believe. But I do also believe that, like with the mob stories that you talk to people about and repeat time and time again, if you just chose not to discuss that for a while,
it would
just-
fuck you up.
no,
No, it would fuck you
no,
up.
you
more.
don't tell it. You don't tell it like you're sharing pain. You brag about it.
Yeah, I'm saying.
So don't tell
you
me
don't-
that bragging about the past is good if it brings you pain ultimately.
It doesn't bring you pain.
That's what you told me.
No, I'm
And we
saying
have
it
it on
doesn't.
film.
It doesn't bring you pain.
Remorse
It just
brings you remorse.
yeah.
But if you're
And
gonna
if you
feel
don't
bad
talk
about your
it,
life,
if you keep it in here, it's gonna kill you, for real.
but you don't talk about it because you're trying to relieve yourself. You do that once in a while, but mostly you meet people and you tell them your story more as a braggadocious type of thing. And ultimately afterwards you feel bad about it. And what I'm saying is, instead of talking about the past and living in the past, talk about the present and your dreams of what you want to do.
Ay, the humidity.
But I mean, one of the reasons you're supposed to talk about your past is to talk about it and get it over with and move on. Just
I agree with you.
I mean, like,
100%.
was it
My
was like,
psychiatrists have been telling me that for 35 years.
well, that's one of the problems in psychiatry is people fall in love with their symptoms. There's two reasons people go to a psychiatrist. One is like to figure out how to solve their problems, and the other one is to justify them. Justify their behavior, like, oh well, I got this disorder, so, and then they let go. They don't really try to solve it.
And I have.
You nailed it with that comment right there. Once they've justified their problem, then they rationalize everything behind it.
Exactly, it's a rationalization.
You know? Hello.
I always say
Good morning,
this:
Ronnie.
nobody lives
Good,
in
how
here
you
but me,
doing?
and it's a hard place to live. Believe me.
Yeah,
it's
well,
a hard place to live.
I'm familiar with a little bit because one of the Castro Valley again, one of the older kids went to Vietnam,
Well,
and
I'm only talking
he,
about Vietnam.
but he came back and he was different. I mean, he
Well,
was.
you got to be different.
He was gone. He's in jail now. Yeah,
There's
but
a
he
lot of
just
Vietnam
lost it.
Did you get cigarettes today?
Can you show me some of your
But-
marks? I'm sorry, go ahead.
But one of the interesting things to do is, like, if you ask someone to, like, you can actually change someone's mood. Like if I ask you to, name something, well, talk about something horrible in your life,
Well, that's
and you'll
basically
feel
my
horrible.
life.
Yeah. Okay. Second thing. Okay. Name one thing good in this backyard right now.
Singing with the girls the other day made me happier than a fuck.
Right.
You know.
But see how your mood just changes by choosing what you think about.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, you got to understand that
I definitely think we should
Name a second
for a while so people can follow up.
I sold a painting.
Yeah. Name
That
a
made
third
me feel
thing.
good.
Name a third thing.
I don't know if I can get to 3.
Yes. That's because it was working. It's like, all right, I'm gonna.
No, I don't know if I can get to 3. Well, being with Billy and Rossi
Yeah,
and Alice, just having my friends around is important because where I live, I really have no friends. I just basically live a really solitary life. You know, and when I'm up here with my friends,
But the point
it makes me happy.
By the point I'm making, by choosing what you think about, you affect your mood.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, when you were with a crew on the street that was chopping up, hacking up fucking bodies, killing innocent people that didn't deserve to die, I mean, that shit works on your brain. I mean, there was so many people I knew that didn't deserve to die. I mean, the business was one thing. If we were doing business, it's one thing. But there was a lot of people died that they died for absolutely no reason other than just being there at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yes.
Now, you don't get rid of that in your mind. I remember faces from Vietnam. I remember faces of people. I mean, I remember them like I'm looking at you right now.
Have you been to the memorial and the mall?
Yeah.
You found their names on
We have a reunion once a year. It's called Rolling Thunder. It's every 4th of July. And we go to the wall. It's all, mostly motorcycles. And, yeah. And that's funny too. It's because, you meet the guys that you were with. And every year, the older you get, the stories get big. And you just look at something, and you didn't do that. They're saying, I did this. It's just, everybody lets it out. Everybody lets it hang out. Because it's really hard for veterans of a war, any war, to talk to anyone else other than people that have been there.
Right,
Because
yeah.
people that haven't been there really, no matter what you say or how you try and describe it, they have no clue what it's really like. I mean, nobody understands that unless you've been there.
That's why I think John McCain is a pig.
Oh, I'm
Because
voting for
because John Kerry was in Vietnam too.
No, but John Kerry was full of shit.
No, he was in Vietnam on the.
There's
ground.
nobody that
See, look
I
at
knew.
that. What?
Hold on. Really, there's nobody I knew in Vietnam that was there for 6 months and got 3 Purple Hearts. Come on. I mean, his boat people said it. He slipped and fell and cut his arm, and they gave him a Purple Heart. Come on. The guy was a
They only
fake.
said that when they were paid money by the
No.
Republicans.
The guy was a stone cold fake.
Okay, so you rationalized it,
Well, I voted for the biggest idiot that ever ran the country.
and you're still
Rather
rationalizing.
than
You're
have-
still rationalizing. McCain.
I'm not rationalizing because I think George Bush is a moron. But better than fucking Kerry, who's just a fucking stone cold liar. And he didn't do what he said he did in Vietnam.
You're just. He was not a liar up until the election. You never knew. You never said John Kerry was a liar 10 years ago.
Not 10 years
You're
ago,
full-
because
you're
I
full of
didn't.
shit. You're full of shit. Because
I didn't know John Kerry.
the
10 years
Republicans
ago.
give $1 million
I'm not
to
a
some colonel.
Republican. I just vote for who I think is the better man. That's the way it's supposed to
No,
be.
but I'm saying you're just mouthing. You're just mouthing what some Republican committee
No.
wanted you to
No.
mouth.
You're very wrong there. We take
How
it
come
very
John
serious.
Kerry's war record? He was a senator for a while. I think he ran for president. How come it didn't show up until he was the nominee?
Well, a lot
And
of
then
shit
they have
doesn't
videos.
show
They have
up
the
until-
video of the guy that doing speeches about how good John Kerry was, and then all of a sudden an election happens, and they give the guy $1 million, and he switches his story.
Well, I don't know
You're gonna believe a guy that switches his story?
I'm gonna believe that there is no one I ever fucking knew in Vietnam got 3 Purple Hearts in 6 months. It's unheard of. Nobody has ever
But
gotten
you're not-
3
you-
Purple
you-
Hearts in 6 months.
You're just spouting what they do.
I'm not spouting what it's
But anyway,
the truth.
getting back to John
Were you
McCain.
there? Okay.
No, listen,
all I
listen.
gotta
I
answer.
was at the election though.
It don't matter. Were you in Vietnam?
My point.
But how do you know he got 3 Purple Hearts in 6
Because he
months?
said he got 3 Purple Hearts and he just did 6 months in Vietnam. 6 months.
How do you know that he
That's
actually
number
got-
one. That's a pussy to begin with, to do 6 months in Vietnam. You know, your tour was 13 months. You know, he got out of that too. All right? The guy was a jerk off, period. And you're not going to talk to any Vietnam vet that isn't going to say that.
They have
Whether they
videos
got
of-
paid $1 million or
They
not.
have videos of the guys that did the Swift boat thing years before saying how good he was. So
What do you
why
mean years
they
before?
switch?
The guy did 6 months.
You're not listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's the guys, you know, that did the Swift boat thing. They have videos of him standing up with John Kerry saying what a good guy he is.
Well, maybe
so
they
this
paid
guy's
him to do that for John Kerry. Did you ever think of that? Huh? You never thought of that one, right?
why? Why was John Kerry paying him? It was like a reunion of vets. Do you get paid to go to a vet thing?
I've been to probably 100 reunions. I never saw John Kerry at one of them.
Wasn't he in the Navy?
Yeah, he was in the
Wasn't he?
Navy. Gee,
I
thank
knew He
you.
wasn't in the army.
Yeah, come on.
No, but all the
How would you
reunions,
see him at a reunion?
the reunions aren't about. It's about Vietnam
Dumb.
vets.
I went
It's
with you
not
to one of
about-
your reunions,
Yeah.
but it was the 173rd Airborne.
But that was our personal
Yeah.
reunion.
Right.
But when we have the reunion on July 4th, it's called Rolling Thunder.
Yeah,
at
how would
the
you
wall.
see John Kerry when there's a fucking million
Well,
people
don't
around?
you think that he would make his presence known?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know. the
yeah,
guy.
he would. He would.
Whatever.
So don't.
Never mind.
You know,
Yeah, you're never gonna
unless
win
you
on
were there,
politics.
you don't.
Well,
get
but
it.
anyway, even given that, if John Kerry was in Vietnam,
Well, he was
and
in
did
Vietnam,
have
there's no
bullets,
doubt about
and did
that.
have bullets shot at him, are you denying that?
No, I'm not denying that at all. All I'm denying.
So for John McCain to keep quiet when a
no, you
veteran
can't
buddy.
compare McCain to fucking Kerry.
No, I'm
I
saying
mean, this
it's
guy was
no,
a POW
during-
for 5
No,
years.
I'm just telling you why I think John McCain's a pig. Okay, can I?
Sure, you can.
Because
Everybody's got an opinion. That's
John
what we
Kerry
do.
was in Vietnam. He had bullets shot at him, and John McCain was in Vietnam. And you won't let me finish.
I'm
and
not- I'm just
and you know, all the way up until that election, you know, John Kerry was presumed to be a veteran that had bullets shot at him until they got that ad out. But John McCain didn't stand up and say this is out of line. He didn't protect his fellow vet. He didn't protect his fellow vet. Like Republican politics were more important than being in war together, and that
Well,
just
I'm totally
disgusted
against.
me. That
I'm
just
totally
disgusted
against.
me
That's a
because
damn
that's a
good
bigger issue. I used to have respect
Because
for
his
him.
self-interest, you know.
I used to have respect for John McCain. I disagreed with some of his policies, but I had respect. But after that, it's like you guys were in war together, and you didn't stay up and say this ad is just like this is too much.
Right.
And then it's just and that just anyway. That's how I feel.
No, look at
about
George
John
Bush. Look at George Bush.
He was the best war hero. Serious?
The guy flew an airplane.
Yeah, I know George Bush is.
I mean, and he was with the National
I
Guard.
think we're in agreement on George Bush.
Yeah, no, we definitely
He's
on
the,
agreement.
actually, I think he's the worst president I think
That
we've
I've
had
had.
historically.
Yeah. I go
Well,
back.
he's going down as.
I
He,
can
he talks
remember-
fucking tough, but he couldn't handle Katrina, you know, and
He couldn't handle anything.
And,
He's a
I,
moron.
and you know, in Iraq, we're going to be paying for that for 20 years because there's, I don't know if you know this, but like kids in the Middle East, like for the last 5 years, they go out and get their martyr pictures taken. Their parents don't know what's going on. Like teenage boys get your martyr picture taken. You know what the martyr picture is? Is like
Yeah.
when they kill
When they
themselves,
kill
that's what they put in the paper.
Right, but
And it's
that-
like, and
In
that, they're
Vietnam, we had
teenagers.
sappers. Sappers
You know,
did the same thing.
90% of them will get over it, but 10% are, you know, it's like, you know,
But that's
we're going to be
why-
paying that for 20 years.
Yeah, but
and
the thing
he's
is,
such
you can't blame
he's
Bush
a,
for that. You got to blame the American people for being too full of shit and not saying either A, let's have some socialism here and share resources, which won't happen, or B, let's become imperialist and take that fucking oil and get some bang for the buck and the blood.
They're saying it
Because
now.
if you're gonna go to another country and kill everybody and do all this shit anyway, and they have resources, take the shit. What are we doing in the way the world is? If you want to rule, you got to rule with a mighty hand. Rule with a mighty hand, not with one tied behind your back.
The Iraqi oil companies have made the biggest profits of all time, and then we're going, wait a minute, how come they're not paying for their,
Well,
It's
there was a
time
big
for
article in the Times.
imperialism or socialism. Okay,
no,
but this ain't
I
working.
disagree because I think there's socialism is as dumb as capitalism, free market, and the reason is there's different things work better, like highways and schools. Your police department's socialized, your army's socialized. It's paid for by the government, but things like clothing and art shouldn't be socialized.
Well, when I say socialism, what I mean, Ray, is this.
You don't want all
The
dressed in
concept-
Mao jackets.
No. That's not socialism. That's communism. What I'm talking about is the idea of a society that shares resources. And global socialism would be the idea that a world realizes that as it overpopulates itself and as it gets smaller through technology, it's either A, got to share and find a way to barter with what it has,
you're talking
or
about the
B,
perfect
hold
world.
on, no, I am, but that ain't gonna happen. Not the perfect world, but a social idea.
You're talking
or
about
B,
a community, not
yeah.
not socialism as a form of government. But
No, nothing's pure because capitalism, nothing's in a pure form. But the idea that capitalism now is just separating people into rich and poor.
I don't accept the word pure because I think pure capitalism and pure communism or
It doesn't
socialism
exist.
are myths, and
That's
because
what
of
I'm
those
saying.
myths, people die because of those myths.
I said nothing is pure.
Yeah, no, it should be mixed.
It should be
And
mixed,
the,
but
the
right now what
argument,
we
the
have
argument
isn't
is
working.
what part do you like spread across society and what part do you leave up to the individual is the argument. You know, when the people, candidates say, oh, big government's bad, it's like, what the fuck they talking about? What, you gonna privatize the army? It's the army. Then they say, oh, government's inefficient. It's like the whole military complex is socialism.
Oh, definitely is.
Everybody pays taxes, and you get incredible benefits, and then
Well, those guys, but
then
the
people
society
stand up
should
and
have
say,
that.
Well, I don't know
How
if
can we
you
be
get
a great
incredible-
society like America? How can we be good if we can't take care of our people?
What
medically?
incredible
Oh
benefits
yeah, no, I
do you
agree.
get?
And that's where.
The thing is the way it should be sold is because like in Europe and Japan, which are big industrial competitors, their medicine is socialized.
Right.
And the thing is like the way to sell it in America is like General Motors doesn't want to pay these health costs. Mercedes-Benz can compete better because they don't have to do health care.
Right.
The government does it and spreads the cost. I mean, Switzerland, which has like the most socialized medicine, they spend 1/2 per capita on their medicine than the United States. The United States spends
I'll
millions
say-
of dollars on some guy's heart transplant and leaves,
Well, we
20
won't
million
talk
I'll
kids
tell you how
without
to
anything.
get
other
it.
day.
I'll tell you how to get it. You get the American people to agree that all their vices can be taxed and regulated, and you'll have health care and the economy will go boom. Just marijuana and prostitution alone
Should be legalized.
should be legal,
Yeah.
and the revenue from just those two things would give you health
But the
care.
other thing is the corporations know this, is that it's in their advantage because they, like General Motors has a retiring force, that grew up in the 50s and 60s, and their healthcare costs are like, 4 times bigger than they were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And they can't compete with Mercedes-Benz and Toyota,
Well, why do
Lexus. And it's like that has not been a public dialogue. You watch all this internet news, and it's like this is where all the corporation guys know that, but they're not going to stand up and say socialized medicine because they'll get shot down by Rush Limbaugh and stuff.
What I gotta agree with Ross is that it's the society. You got
Oh, yeah.
you got football players making $170 million.
Right. So if you rent
No,
sports
down
and-
there I'm fine.
Oh, come on, man. A lot of the reason you are broke is because you have fucking habits that are really expensive. And whose habits do you have? The ones the government's giving you.
Yeah.
Tobacco and alcohol.
Legal.
They're fucking you in the
Legal.
ass every day. Yeah,
Legal.
legal. Do you know a weed habit is cheaper than fucking cigarettes? It's cheaper to smoke
healthier.
and healthier to smoke 50
No, I
bucks.
don't know about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
no,
50
it-
bag of weed.
You ever
that-
see the goo at the end of a joint? That's in your lungs.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
goo,
but
but
you
there
don't
ain't
smoke- you
200
don't-
chemicals, 400
You don't
chemicals.
smoke.
There
as
ain't
much.
that an American spirit either.
Exactly. I smoke one joint over the course of a day. You smoke 40 some odd cigarettes, bro. Yeah, I mean, they got you by the nuts. They do.
And it's legal.
I know.
And I agree with you 100%. Prostitution.
That would change
marijuana.
that would change the face of the world.
You know me.
We have
agree
more
with that
women in
100%.
prison in America than all of Europe combined, and 90% of them are in there for drug-related offenses.
Oh, yeah.
It's a statistic that sticks in my mind all the time because when I heard it, I couldn't fucking believe it. Because women get manipulated into all kinds of shit. You know, be drug mules, be this, hold my shit, do that, and 90% of them are locked up for that. And the jails would be empty. The jails would be empty if you legalize drugs.
I agree.
And we'd have healthcare. We'd have a booming economy.
The
Think
problem
about
is that some politician says let's legalize marijuana and
No, he would
regulate.
never
They
get
get nailed.
elected.
You're pro-drugs.
Yeah, he'd never
The
get
cops
elected.
lose their jobs. That's all it is. The lobby, everything's so connected that if they legalize a drug or prostitution, do you know how many hundreds of thousands of cops won't be necessary if just you did those two things? I mean, think about it. But then what do they give you? What does America give you? It gives you Vegas and says, come here to fucking dumbass playland and you can fuck fat prostitutes. You can spend all your money here. You'll see shows.
What do you got against fat prostitutes?
Well, actually, in Vegas, they got some pretty good-looking hookers.
No, but think about the it's so fucking hypocritical, man. Vegas is the little thing.